Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Words to my brethren all around the world watching this video. Hope you're having a great day today as you're tuning in. Do yourself a damn favor and hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. Also, make sure you click the little bell icon so you can get all the notifications delivered to you so you won't miss anything. All right, because there are some great things coming out here on True School Sports. But let's get into it. Let's get into the boxing. Alexander Povetkin. Let's talk about Alexander Povetkin because we talk a lot about Joshua and Whyte and Miller and Wilder and Fury and all these guys, but Alexander Povetkin is still in the division. He's still in the division. He's still around. He's still someone we should talk about in the heavyweight division because he has said that following the Joshua fight, he has stated that he has about 2 fights left in him. He's coming off that loss to Anthony Joshua, and I'll be honest with you, I think in that Joshua fight with Povetkin, I think Joshua really showed his growth as a fighter. I think this whole year for Joshua, he's been showing his growth as a fighter. Even though the Parker fight wasn't as exciting as we thought it would be, he showed growth. He showed patience and maturity in that fight, and he showed maturity to finish Povetkin the way he did in this fight. So I left his fight with Povetkin very impressed. But he's still around. He's still a hell of a fighter. He's still someone that I think on his night, on his day, even as old as he is, can give the best heavyweights in the division problems, as he did with Joshua. So with that being said, Alexander Povetkin has stated that he still has ambition to be a force in the division, and he embraces, as it says in boxing scene right here, he embraces the scenario of fighting a Dillian Whyte next, in his next fight. Here's what he said in regards to fighting Dillian Whyte. He said, I quote, "Of course, I would like a fight with Whyte to take place. Let's see how everything will turn out. Everything does not depend on me." Basically, that's all he said. Alexander Povetkin, it is worth noting that since he fought Joshua on September the 22nd, he has underwent surgery because he had injuries on both of his elbows, so he has to obviously recover from that. But he's showing that he wants to fight Dillian Whyte. And I think that'd be a really, really good matchup. This is actually another one of those guys, because you guys know that with Dillian Whyte, like I've stated that Whyte Joshua isn't a bad fight. I think it's an entertaining fight. But I want to see Joshua fight Fury or Wilder. I don't want to see him fight nobody else. There's no need for him to fight anybody else, straight up. With that being said, this is another one of those guys that I would like to see Dillian Whyte fight. So Povetkin, I'd like to see Dillian Whyte fight Povetkin or Jarrell Miller or Luis Ortiz. Povetkin, Miller, Ortiz, any one of them 3 fights I think would be amazing for Dillian Whyte. And the Povetkin fight would be interesting because with Povetkin, you have a guy that is he is one of the most proven commodities in the heavyweight division. This is a guy that's been in there. He's fought the best. This is a guy that's proven himself to be a big puncher. This is a guy that's proved that has deep Olympic amateur pedigree. And if we're talking about as far as how does he measure up with Dillian Whyte, I would say as far as the way he measures up with Dillian Whyte, they're the same in terms of their dimensions. When we talk about Alexander Povetkin, we're talking about a man. As far as his dimensions go, as far as how tall he is and how big he is, this is a man in Povetkin that is pushing. He's 6'2". Got a 75-inch reach. Dillian Whyte's about 6'3" with a reach advantage of about 78 or something like that. So they're about the same size. They're about the same size because we are in an era where there are super heavyweights, guys that are just behemoths, guys like Jarrell Miller and guys like Anthony Joshua and guys like Tyson Fury, who are either just bigger, bulky, or just tanks. Like they're massive heavyweights. So these guys are very, very close in stature. These guys are as far as their fighting styles, they do some of the same things. Similar, like their styles where they fight in a very similar manner. They both have really good left hooks. They both are fighters that have proven themselves to be big punchers and have really good left hooks. So I would like to see it'd be interesting to see who would land the left hook first in a fight like this. And I think if Whyte were to fight a guy like Povetkin, a guy who's a veteran, battle tested, been in big fights, beat quality fighters, got amateur experience, I think that would be. And the thing is, too, he fights in a manner like Dillian Whyte. So I think this would be a fight where Dillian Whyte would have to show us a couple of things like he'd have to show us patience, how patient has he become as a fighter, how much has he really matured. That's number one. And number two, he in the Chisora fight, he did use his jab a little more. But it's a little easier to use your jab against a guy like Chisora because no disrespect to Chisora, but Chisora is a much more basic fighter. He's not offering up as much to the table as Povetkin is. Chisora is a guy that comes forward, he comes to fight, and he's coming to fight. Once you bake a damn cake, it's a cake. And that's Chisora. Chisora is that damn cake. He comes to fight. I know that. Whyte knows that. Everyone knows that. He even lets you know on his hat when he wears a hat that says War Chisora. So it's easier to game plan for a guy like that. But when you fight a guy like Povetkin's a guy that has a bit more dimensions to him. He's got a bit more different ways he can beat you. And when you fight a guy like that, you're gonna have to have patience to see what it is you have in front of you in the ring and decipher that and dissect that. And then he's had to figure out ways to land his big punches, to win rounds, to hurt Povetkin. And I think in a fight like that against Povetkin, we will really see if Dillian Whyte is a contend like a top contender or a pretender, because he's beating Chisora. Okay, he's beating Parker. He's beating these guys. Fair play to him. He is, outside of the champions, I would say, established himself as the best heavyweight in the world. I'll give him that much. But as far as can he really beat those top heavyweights? Is he really a threat to those guys? Personally, for me, I don't think he'll beat Anthony Joshua in a rematch. I actually think Anthony Joshua beats him way more decisively in the rematch. I think he doesn't have a prayer at beating Tyson Fury. Fury is just too long, too athletic, too smart, too mobile for him to even find the left hook that he needs to land to beat Fury. And then against Wilder, I think that's a more even fight. I could definitely see him hurting Wilder, maybe dropping him. But, as vulnerable as Wilder look, we have to give him some credit. Wilder, he sustained attacks from Luis Ortiz, was able to show great toughness in that fight, and he showed a lot of championship mettle in the Fury fight. Even though he got outboxed and he lost, he did show himself to be dangerous for all 12 rounds, and his power carried into the 12th round. And I think he's fought a guy, and he's knocked down a guy as crafty as Fury. I think he's actually, when he fights Dillian Whyte, it's going to be a little easier for him. So I didn't favor Wilder in that fight. I don't think Whyte could beat any of those guys, to be honest with you. I used to think Whyte had a bigger chance against Wilder, but now that I see Wilder in there with Fury and the Ortiz fight, absolutely not. So I think he's a good fighter, but I don't think right now that he could beat those top guys. But if he were to go in there, I'll tell you right now, if he were to go in there and let's say he does to Povetkin what he did to Joseph Parker, then I would say, wow, okay, Dillian Whyte, I already knew he was better than I thought he was initially, but this guy he's not just the best of the rest, but he is a true threat to these other guys. See, I see him as the best. Right now, the way I look at Dillian Whyte is he is the best of the rest. He is the best outside the champions, but he is not truly, in my opinion, he is not truly a threat to any of them guys. I don't think he's a threat to any of them guys. I don't think he's going to beat any of them guys. I just don't think he has the skills to find those punches that he wants to land on those guys. I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the skills to set those punches up. But that's why I like to see this fight. And honestly, I think Povetkin will be a very live dog in this fight. A lot of people would favor Dillian Whyte because he's the youthful guy. He's the guy that's on a good string of victories. He's beaten Robert Lanius. He's been beating Chisora. He's been beating Joseph Parker. So for good reason, he should be favored in a fight like that. But I want to see it. So if this is a fight that presents itself, if this is a fight that Matchroom Boxing looks into, I would definitely co-sign it because, again, we need more clarity in the heavyweight division. We need to see Dillian Whyte in there with someone who is truly, truly, truly top level because I'll be honest with you, okay, Joseph Parker has proven himself this year, all right? And I'm going to just call a spade a spade. I used to rate Joseph Parker fairly highly. And I think he is still a top 10 heavyweight. But now that he's fought some of the top guys, I don't view him in that top 5 or even 6 heavyweights. I think he's 9 to 10, 8 to 10, somewhere around that range. And he still has a lot of deficiencies he needs to work out in his own skill set. And I think Povetkin's a better fighter than Joseph Parker. I'll say it like that. I think he's a better fighter than Joseph Parker. He's beaten better fighters. He's been there better fighters. He's a more devastating puncher. And the only guy that had stopped him up until his last fight was Anthony Joshua. Nobody had stopped him until his last fight. So he had went 35 fights without being stopped, and he's been there with some big punchers, guys like David Price, guys like Vladimir Klitschko. There's really top level fighters. So Povetkin, Dillian Whyte, I say make it happen. I think we'll get a lot of answers to just how good Dillian Whyte is in that fight. We'll also get some answers as to if Povetkin is still a top 5 to 6 caliber heavyweight. Because truth be told, but Povetkin, after the Wilder thing, Wilder ducked him. We don't need to get into that, but Wilder did duck him. I made that case known in another video, so if you want to go find that out, you can go on my channel, type in Povetkin Wilder, and you go find the videos. But Wilder ducked him. and you never really hear anybody call his name out, But he is a known fighter in the division. A lot of these guys have sparred Povetkin. A lot of these guys know Povetkin. They know what he brings to the table. So I would like to see Povetkin in there with Dillian Whyte. And if not Dillian Whyte, then, Gerald Miller would be a good fight. Luis Ortiz would be a good fight. Wouldn't mind seeing that. So let me know what you guys in the comments down below. Alexander Povetkin, very, very open to a fight with Dillian Whyte. I think it'd be a good matchup to see how mature Dillian Whyte has become and how he does against other former Anthony Joshua opponents. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to click that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. And like I say in every single video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding. So until next time, take care, guys.